Daily Wire journalist Christina Buttons. Is that really her name, or is that like a Jenna Marbles thing? It doesn't matter. Daily Wire journalist Christina Buttons has left the network after citing what she claims to be, and I'm paraphrasing here, abrasive rhetoric from people like Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. Now, she says while she still agrees with the message, the overall message of what they're saying, she doesn't agree with their method of going about it, of trying to attain the same goal as her. Now, before we get any deeper into this, I just want to please ask you guys to like, subscribe, share around if you're feeling generous, turn the notifications on, follow my show That's Based with Caleb Salvatore. It's every Saturday on outlawstreamers.com. They don't let us post full episodes of the show. Here on YouTube, we do post clips, and you can go give it a test run if you want to see if you like it. We do have full episodes on Rumble for video, and then Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Again, that's Based with Caleb Salvatore. It's in the description down below. Follow my socials. Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram. Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok. And, of course, this channel right here. Website coming soon. I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face, but I think Anthony Rogers helped me out. I think I'm actually going to get this down. So we'll stay tuned on that. So she has quit, citing essentially that Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and people like that have just too strong of rhetoric toward the whole transgender, non-binary, transitioning kids movement. And here's the thing, what we have to realize. Every movement that's aspired toward achieving some type of social change has an abrasive side, has a side, I shouldn't say abrasive, a side that's more willing to go knock heads around, and a diplomatic side to it. And that's necessary. Both sides of that are necessary. You have to have both sides of that, right? Like, if you think about it, I mean, any social movement that's tried to influence change, like you've had Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. You've got to have someone who's willing to go knock some heads around and maybe create a little chaos, and you got to have someone who can get in front of the cameras in a nice suit and tie and deliver a diplomatic, peaceful message to everyone. You have to have both. Now, she's obviously citing the video about the Matt Walsh video from his show where he went on a rant about Dylan Mulvaney, the trans non-binary. I don't know what this guy is. He's some kind of activist for transgender rights or non-binary rights or something along those lines. He blew up on TikTok. So Matt Walsh made a video just absolutely roasting him. And honestly, if you go back and watch it, find something wrong that he said. Was it harsh? Yes. But tell me what he said that was wrong. Okay, so you need people like Matt Walsh to rile up your base, to hit hard, and maybe fight a little dirty, because the reality is the other side is going to fight dirty as well. So you need someone like Matt Walsh who's going to be willing to get just as low as they are. It's just a fact. But you also need someone who can go on the CNNs, on the MSNBCs, on the ABCs, on the 60 Minutes, and deliver a pointed message that comes off as, the politician-y, lawyer-y type message, right? There are multiple ways to package something. Think about if you're mailing a package. There's multiple ways to deliver that package to the recipient, right? Like, you can go through the post office, you can go through UPS, you can go through Amazon, you can go through FedEx, who will leave it on your door, realize it required an adult signature, come back and get it, and still leave it marked as delivered. And even though it was a firearm, and now you have the FBI at your door because you just filed a missing firearms report. But never mind, that's a personal story of mine. But at the end of the day, there's different ways to get the message across, and there's no wrong way to do it. In fact, you need both. Every time you have a movement like this, you have both sides of it, the more harsh side and then the more pragmatic side. You'll have two sides of it, and they have two things in common, right? Number one, they have the same goal. They want to reach the same end point. Number two, they blame the other side for why they haven't gotten there yet, or the lack of progress they've made, or whatever the case may be. They're going to blame the other side, who ultimately wants the same thing. So you have two groups that want the same ends through a different means. And that's okay. Again, I can't stress it enough. You do need both. And neither side wants to admit that. You have to have both of those types of people on your side if you're going to influence some type of real social change. Matt Walsh has done a lot. Matt Walsh has probably done more than anyone who's criticizing him on the right now to fight against this insanity. You may not like the way he's messaged it. You may not like the way he's packaged it, but you cannot deny that he has gotten results. You cannot deny that the Daily Wire overall has gotten results. Now, as far as the Michael Knowles thing, that could have been worded better, and he knows that. But what are we doing right now? We're talking about him. We're giving attention to an issue that we otherwise may not have brought attention to. Or we're bringing more attention to an issue, I should say. He's sparking debate. You may not agree with his tactics, but here we are talking about it. We've been talking about it for a week now. I thought that he could have worded that. I mean, and I have no... We say some pretty abrasive and straightforward stuff on my show. It's part of the reason we can't post it to YouTube. I thought that could have been worded a little bit better, but I understand where he was coming from. I don't think he wants to actually genocide trans people. I think that a lot of people are taking that out of context, and they're doing it on purpose. But this is what I talk about all the time here, is just the conservative infighting. We are too busy fighting each other, whether it be with the Kevin McCarthy congressional leadership thing, whether it be Steven Crowder versus Daily Wire, whether it be Project Veritas, whether it be the Tim Pool, Eliza Blue nonsense, and now it's this. Listen, if you want to criticize someone like Matt Walsh, you need to prove that you've produced the same types of results he has. That's all I'm saying. If you can prove that you've produced the same results Matt Walsh has through your methods, and I'm not saying your method of going about it is right or wrong. I'm just saying I want to see how many results you've produced before you start criticizing someone who has done a lot, who's accomplished a lot in this field. These are internal office issues that are being handled publicly, and this is just someone who's in it. In my opinion, this girl that's quitting, she's doing this for the publicity. She's going to get her... I had never heard of her. And I'm nobody, too. Don't get me wrong. But I had never heard of this girl until she released this statement. I'm sure she does great work. I don't know much about her. But she's got way more people talking about her now. She's got way more people following her to see what she's into now. So she's going to get her 15 minutes of fame. But at the end of the day, if she doesn't produce results at the same rate that the Daily Wire does, at the same rate that Matt Walsh does, it doesn't matter. People are going to go, okay, that was the blip on the radar. Bye-bye. And again, I'll wrap it all up. I'll summarize what I was saying. You have to have both types of people, right? You have to have someone that can spur controversy and insult the other side and fight dirty, and you have to have someone that can put on a suit and tie or a nice blazer in her case, right? Go on the CNNs, the MSNBCs, and talk to people in a non-threatening way who maybe are a little bit on the fence. Maybe they're not totally into everything about what you're saying, but they're open to hearing it. Those are the people you need to convince, and you need someone to do that. But at the same time, like I said, man, you got to have both. Every toolbox needs a hammer. That's what it comes down to. Every toolbox needs a hammer. It's not the right tool for every job. That's what we say. Like my fiance and I, when we have an issue with like a customer service situation or something like that, what we say is every toolbox needs a hammer. She's the screwdriver, I'm the hammer. The screwdriver, you send it in, it kind of works it gently. You know, it screws it in, it goes right in the hole, and it twists until it gets just the right fit. The hammer just bangs it against the wall until it goes in. So if we have something that can be handled delicately or needs to be handled delicately, we'll send her. But if whoever it is just bullheaded and absolutely refuses to listen to reason, or we're getting screwed over, that's where I come in. And that's where the profanities and threats of lawsuits and threats of going to the media, because I have a lot of connections in local media, that's where those come in. And you can't do that with everything. Just like in politics, just like when you're trying to spark social change, you can't do that with everything, because you're going to burn a lot of bridges doing that. But you do have to have it in your arsenal. You have to be capable of being mean in life, period. Not just politics, just in life. You have to be capable of being mean. And if you aren't capable of being mean, you have to have someone on your side who is capable of getting mean and nasty and dirty. That's why I think it's time for everyone to just quit the infighting, realize we have the same goal, and that there are different roads to achieve that goal, different paths we can take to get to the same endpoint, and honestly, we probably need all of them. Matt Walsh, because let me tell you, Matt Walsh, you can agree with his rhetoric, with the way he went about that rant, or you can disagree with it. But at the end of the day, we can all agree that what he said is nowhere near as bad as the mutilation and sterilization of children. And that's really it. We're on the same team. We are fighting something much more evil and much more disgusting than mean words. We are fighting the systematic grooming and sterilization of confused children. Kids that just don't fit in socially. We are turning into science experiments. And that is much worse than someone being too mean or too nice on their talk show. It's just a fact, guys. What we are up against is much, much, much worse than the rhetoric of your colleagues. Give me a break. Anyway, if you liked what you saw, like, subscribe, turn the notifications on, share around if you're feeling generous. Follow my socials. Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram. Caleb Salvatore Comedy on TikTok. My podcast, That's Based with Caleb Salvatore. It's down in the description below. It's on Rumble, Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts. Again, That's Based with Caleb Salvatore. If you like what you're listening to, if you're on Apple especially, go on and leave us a 5-star review. It helps boost us up the algorithm. I'll tell you something. There's 60, and this is small fries, right? This is small fish, right, that we're talking about here, but it's a big deal to me. It's cool to me. There are 60,000 comedy podcasts in circulation. They got the ratings back last week at Outlaw Streamers, my network, where they have some other great shows you can go check out. They got the ratings back last week. My show, out of 60,000 comedy podcasts, was ranked to number 212. Now we're like 13 behind Bill Maher, right? Now that's small fish, right? It's not a huge deal. I'm not making millions of dollars doing this, but it's super cool. And if you guys share around, we can blow this up. I'm telling you right now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. New episode of That's Based drops Saturday. Make sure you check it out. Go get caught up at the link in the description. Cheat on your taxes, not your spouse. Peace out and stay based.